Like another reaction, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, everything you need to know. Let's see what the Cosmic Culture has to say about this and check this out.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm your host Chris, and today we're going to be diving into everything you need to know before watching Black Panther Wakanda Forever, the sequel to the Black Panther franchise and the first Black Panther movie in the multiverse saga. Has a lot of information to offer as we are pushing the narrative in the multiverse saga. Now, many of the details that we need to know come from the Infinity Saga, and I want to say just from the start, and I'm sure I will repeat myself several times, but we are in the Multiverse Saga. The entirety of the MCU, where we are at, where we are headed, is very different than what we needed to know for the Infinity Saga. So keep that detail in mind, and I'll explain a little bit more in a second. But with all of that being said, we have a few movies and plot details and points from the past of the MCU to go over before you might be ready to watch Wakanda Forever. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the other major movie and television news updates happening daily here on the channel. You can also follow me on my other socials, Instagram at Chris M. Rosser and Twitter at The Culture Chris. Links to both of those are in the description down below. So, for starters, and very clearly the first thing you need to know is what happens in Black Panther 1 and Avengers Civil War. Now, Black Panther 1 is a movie that is very rich and deep in Wakandan culture, and we are introduced to many new characters in important parts of the MCU, especially for the aforementioned Infinity Saga, and where the MCU was at that time. But the Infinity Saga is over. Like I mentioned, we are in the Multiverse Saga. So although there are a lot of important details to that history of Wakanda in Civil War and in Black Panther 1, like the death of T'Challa's father, which in Black Panther led to the entire plot of needing to find a king, and was Black Panther, T'Challa, ready to become the Black Panther, ready to become the king, and then his challengers, all of that detail, that is very important for the rich history of Wakanda. But seeing that we are actually in the Multiverse Saga now, which I told you I would be repeating, and I will more, there are some things to take away from Black Panther that specifically are important to the Multiverse Saga. And that would be that Black Panther, T'Challa, opened up the borders of Wakanda to the world. Now, specifically, we didn't get details as to what this meant. It was at a very important international meeting, and he said Wakanda will make itself and its resources available to the world. Now, the world, and probably all of us as fans, thought that this was a reference to vibranium. You know, the stuff that Cap's shield's made out of. Very strong and desired metal. Wakanda is full of it. That's something we learned in Black Panther 1. But it seems like in Wakanda Forever, it's important that you're going to know that that didn't necessarily mean vibranium was just for everybody to have. Wakanda wasn't looking to import this resource. It is still a Wakandan good. That's a detail that in the entirety of Wakanda Black Panther Forever, you're going to want to keep close to. Because a big part of the plot is disagreeing and arguing about this resource. So again, I'll mention, important to know about the back history of Wakanda from Civil War, from Black Panther 1, if you want to know what's going on in Wakanda. If you're trying to keep up with what's going on in the Multiverse Saga in Phase 4, leading into Phase 5, the current story that's building, the fact that the borders were opened is very important. Now, I'm sure you all are very well aware at this point that Chadwick Boseman passed away, unfortunately and tragically, and Marvel decided not to recast T'Challa. So, the reason why Black Panther 1 might not have as many important details that carry over for us is because we will be having a huge void in that role. Not having Black Panther, whose shoulders the entire franchise of Wakanda, Black Panther was built on, is definitely a huge blow. Now, that doesn't mean that the movie's going to be bad, but there is a huge feeling of emptiness in that specific spot, where we had this first movie that built up this story for this character, who is not going to make an appearance in the second film. So a big part of this movie might be just trying to gain new footing for that character, for that role, and for the future of Wakanda in the MCU. Meaning that this movie is kind of a standalone. It has important details, many important details that will connect into the future eventually, and new characters are introduced, and some of those characters even have their own spin-off series that are coming in the future. But before you go in,
Yep.
There's very little you have to know about the MCU or about the multiverse saga before you get to the theater. It's important that you know who Shuri is, who is introduced in Black Panther 1, Queen Ramonda, the mother of T'Challa, who is currently the Queen of Wakanda, and many of the other characters who were introduced in Black Panther 1. But they're all relatively self-explanatory, and you won't be lost if you don't know who they are. On top of that, again, we have more characters introduced from Namor and his entire civilization, other parties who are introduced in the movie as well, all explained, introduced, and really help building the ground of Phase 4 into Phase 5, which is really where we're at in the MCU. Throughout the entirety of Phase 4, the same complaint has been, it's not been very interactive, it's been very slow. We are in this building phase. A lot of the projects that have come forth, whether movies or Disney Plus series, have all been introducing new concepts, new ideas, new characters, and new storylines for the thickening of the plot in Phases 5 and 6, all leading to what seems to be the big finale, Secret Wars. Now, Kang is going to be making an appearance in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania as we kick off Phase 5, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the last movie of Phase 4, with only the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special remaining to finish off this phase. We've learned a lot about the entirety of the MCU in all of the projects that have taken place over the last few years following the conclusion of the Infinity Saga, starting with the multiverse, starting with new characters, new ideas, new theologies, new villains, characters from different universes having some type of background play, which is going to show up to be very important later on and down the road. So as far as Black Panther Wakanda Forever is actually involved, it's pretty low-key. There's no multiverse travel, there's no magic, there's no different universes. It's all very home, which is nice. It's something that Marvel needed to do. They created a very strong, powerful, and passionate movie that creates the new beginning for a culture and for a character that is well-loved and respected around the world. I know for a fact after Black Panther, the original film, came out, a lot of little boys had a new hero, somebody to look up to, somebody who maybe they didn't have to look up to before. So with the passing of Chadwick Boseman, a massive hole was made that now needs to be filled. And hopefully you as a fan or a viewer will feel like that hole, that void has been filled come the end of the movie. Overall, it's important to know where is Wakanda, who is Wakanda, what is Wakanda, what do they do, why are they important, but you're going to get a new and refreshing introduction to Wakanda, what they stand for, and who they are now as we move into the future of Wakanda. And that's all very well established in this movie. So hopefully you guys can buckle in for the ride, be a little open-minded about the issues that the studio had to deal with. Not only, oh no, we've lost an actor, but we've lost a friend, and you can really see that in this movie. This is a mourning opportunity for people who are very, very close to Chadwick Boseman, and honestly, it's kind of difficult to watch because they had to mourn twice. Not only did they have to mourn the immediate loss of Chadwick Boseman, but they had to rehash all of those feelings and emotions while they filmed this movie, and I can only imagine how difficult that might have been. So yes, there is a notable void of the main character of Wakanda in the entire movie, but I think it's done with class, and I think it's done in a way that really adds to the emotion of the movie and doesn't necessarily take away from the power of Wakanda. But you're going to have to watch it and let me know what you think in the comments down below or in another video. You guys are always welcome to let me know what you thought about a movie. And no, you don't have to love it. Your opinion is certainly your own, and I'm always curious to hear what you do think. So you can @ me on Twitter, comment in this section, find me on Instagram. Let me know what you think of Black Panther Wakanda Forever when you give it a watch. Very little you have to know, but all of the different things that you could know before putting yourself into the film or into the movie theater to watch the film happened in Civil War, Black Panther 1, Infinity War, Endgame, and there are some additional informations in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as a bonus if you want to watch What If and learn a little bit more about Wakanda. A lot of awesome information for the culture, for the character, and for the important role that this group will play moving forward into the MCU. But Wakanda Forever really is a building movie, and I think you are all going to really enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. And I'll be sure to catch all of you guys in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.
But yeah, please subscribe, like this video, so watching, and see you guys. Bye.